For example, process of producing smoke clouds from moving aircraft, airplane spray equipment.
Please note the dates.
Yeah, and note the dates, how long and how far back this goes. 1937, yeah, 1934, airplane spray equipment. 1949, aerial discharge device. 1951, process for controlling weather. Go ahead, can you go to the next one? Slide, yeah. Okay, 1955, method and apparatus for detecting minute crystal-forming particles suspended in a gaseous atmosphere. And I started taking note of all these patents that they had. And I asked myself, why do they have all these patents unless they have a big plan and they're doing something, and they are. So method for dispersing natural atmospheric fogs and clouds. And in the packet that I handed out is actually an application if you live in a city or a state to apply to manipulate your weather, to increase rain or decrease rain. And there are actually 66 of these throughout our country, not even including the world, because everybody else has their own. Okay, silver iodide cloud seeding generator, that's 1964. Same thing, seeding. Go to the next one, hon. White cover sheet material capable of reflecting ultraviolet rays, and on and on and on. So like I said, when it happened in the Gulf, I started researching. There's a lot to talk about with that. Okay, Atlantic Richfield Company, ARCO, they were the original contractors for HAARP, and I'm not going to talk about HAARP because Pauline is going to go there, so just HAARP is what she spoke a little bit about. It was actually their subdivision, APTI. They started construction of HAARP in 1993. ARCO was originally one of the Seven Sisters oil companies that broke up in 1911, or I believe it was from the Sherman Act, because he basically controlled the world through all his oil companies. ARCO was one of the ones. ARCO was one of the oil companies that broke off. ARCO also owns one of the biggest aluminum companies in the world, and as all these tests are starting to show, aluminum is being found. And aluminum is not something that you just break off. Aluminum isn't a standalone metal in the environment. So for aluminum to come down, I think, am I right in saying aluminum oxide or whatever? I'm not exactly.
It doesn't occur naturally in the air.
It doesn't occur naturally in the air. So if we're finding it, somebody's putting it there. Okay? So ARCO, which was originally owned by the Rockefellers, just stay with that. Next one, huh? Okay. These are the three patents that really I could have used the smoking gun for these three patents. And the first one, and they're by Bernard Eastland, who worked for ARCO. The first one is the method for producing a shell of relativistic particles at an altitude above the Earth's surface. The second one, method and apparatus for altering a region in the Earth's atmosphere, ionosphere, and or magnetosphere. And the third is method and apparatus for, whoops, it's okay. It's under there. Yeah, for,
Creating artificial.
Thank you. Cyclotron heating region of plasma, so that they could heat up the ionosphere. So he worked for ARCO, which was building HAARP. Okay, next one, honey. Okay, this is what I referred to before, because as I researched, the fingers branched out to everything, so I'm trying to include a little bit of everything. This is Morgellons, and since the year 2008, Morgellons is becoming so much of an epidemic that the CDC is investigating it. And basically what it is, can you go down a little so I could see so everyone can see the bottom? Yeah, on average, 1,000 victims are being afflicted every day. It was originally in Texas, Florida, and I think New Mexico were the three major states. It is now everywhere. There are numerous cases on the island. Every state, in fact, across the globe, there are numerous victims. What it is, it's unhealing sores that contain self-replicating fibers. And we're going to get into a little bit of that later on. but they do not burn at 1700 degrees Fahrenheit. And how do I know this? Because numerous scientists are doing tests on them now. And they have what's called, they're made of a high-density polyethylene fiber, basically a plastic. And the real reason I included this is because you will see that the other corporations that I mentioned actually have subsidiaries that make this type of plastic, so that's where kind of the connect the dots come in.
I'm a little bit confused. So you're saying that what's found in the skin is plastic? I thought it was hair.
It's hair-like, but I'm not even saying that's plastic. It's actually made up of numerous things. And I don't know if you've all seen, about a year ago it came out on the news that they made synthetic life, basically, and that is very similar to that. And these fibers grow and they replicate and they move, and when you take them out of your skin, they move. And this, like I said, this is becoming an epidemic. The CDC is investigating it, but another interesting fact is that Kaiser Wilhelm Institute is investigating it, and in the 1950s, the Rockefellers created the Kaiser Wilhelm Institutes to study eugenics in Germany. So I don't really put much faith in what they're going to find out. That's just my view.
Is there a cure for this?
So I'd like you to take a look at that.
We've also been collecting. We have a pool, and we've been collecting from our pool, and like, anytime it rains after a massive assault, I put out water. And, you know, I'm not a, bowls. I put out bowls and collect the water, and God knows I'm not a chemist. But we hair-like things, and they grow. The longer you keep the slide, they grow. Bonnie has met with my cohort, who was going to be here, but something came up. She's meeting with 3 scientists now, and so if anybody wants to send me slides, send them away. And she's investigating what's inside them, and it's what they're finding. But it's very similar to what's coming out of people.
Can you